The cantina on Kairos Prime Space Station smelled like engine oil and alien sweat. Commander Taman Park sat in the corner booth, nursing a drink that tasted like metal. He wore the dark blue uniform of the Galactic Coalition Navy, but tonight he was just another off-duty officer looking for stories. The bartender was a Vorthak, one of those lizard-like aliens with green scales and yellow eyes. His name was Kellis, and he had been working this cantina for 30 years. Kellis knew every spacer tale worth telling. "You want to hear something interesting, Commander?" Kellis asked, wiping down a glass with his four-fingered hands. "I got a new story today, about ghost ships." Taman looked up from his drink. "Ghost ships?" "Oh yes," Kellis hissed, his voice dropping low. "Cargo hauler came in this morning. Captain was shaking like a leaf. Said he was attacked by pirates near the outer rim. 3 ships armed to the teeth. Thought he was dead for sure." Other aliens in the cantina started to gather around. "Ghost ship stories were always popular. Then what happened?" asked a blue-skinned Cetalian female. Kellis leaned forward. "Ships came out of nowhere. No markings, no identification signals. They tore through those pirates like they were made of paper, saved the cargo hauler, then vanished again. Just like that." "Sounds like Coalition patrol ships," Taman said carefully. No. Kellis shook his head. "This captain, he knows Coalition ships. These were different. Sleek, angular things. And they moved wrong. Too fast, too quiet. Like they bent space around them." An old Mentari trader with insect-like features clicked his mandibles. "I heard similar stories. Ships that appear and disappear. Always helping, never asking for payment. Some say they are ancient protectors." "Ancient protectors?" Kellis laughed, but it sounded nervous. "You mean humans, don't you?" The cantina went quiet. Humans were a touchy subject in Coalition space. "Humans are legends," the Cetalian said. "They died out 50 years ago. Everyone knows that, do they?" Kellis asked. "My grandfather fought in the human wars. He used to tell me stories about their ships. Said they could do impossible things. Move through solid matter. Disappear between stars, weapons that could crack planets." Taman kept his face blank, but his hand moved to touch something under his uniform, a small pendant hidden from view. "Your grandfather was telling tall tales," the Mentari clicked. "Humans were just another species. They got too aggressive, made too many enemies. Natural selection took care of them." "Maybe," Kelly said, but his eyes were thoughtful. "Or maybe they just got smart. Maybe they learned to hide." The conversation moved on to other topics, but Tae-min stayed quiet. After an hour, he paid his bill and left the cantina. In the corridor outside, he walked quickly toward the station's communications center. Humans were not legends. Tae-min knew this because he was one. On the ocean world of Naraxis, Dr. Hana Kim floated 30 meters underwater in a research pod. Through the transparent aluminum walls, she watched a school of native fish swim past. Their scales glowed blue and green in the alien sunlight that filtered down from above. "Fascinating," she said into her recorder. The bioluminescent pattern seemed to change based on emotional state, not just communication needs. Her research partner, a Cetalian named Aquan, swam up to the pod. Cetalians were perfectly adapted for water worlds with gills, webbed hands, and large eyes that could see in deep water. "Dr. Kim," Aquan's voice came through the water speaker. "We should return to the surface soon. The tide changes in 1 hour." "Just a few more minutes," Hana said. "I want to see if the fish react differently to artificial light sources." She had been on Naraxis for 3 years, studying marine life as part of a coalition science exchange program. The Cetalians were peaceful, curious people who loved to learn about other species. They had welcomed her with open arms, never asking too many questions about her background. Hana's research pod had the best communication equipment available. She used it to send scientific reports back to the Coalition Science Institute. But sometimes, when she was sure no one was watching, she used it for other things. The pod's computer chimed softly. "Incoming transmission on frequency 94.7, Hana frowned. That was an old Earth frequency, used decades ago by human ships. No one should be broadcasting on it anymore. "Accept transmission," she said quietly. The message was short and coded, but Hana understood it perfectly. Her hands started to shake as she read the words. "The time has come. Assemble the scattered seeds. Location Zeta 7. Confirm receipt." Aquan noticed her distress when they reached the surface station.
"Friend Hana, you look troubled."
Did the fish do something unexpected? Hana forced a smile. "Just Old memories surfacing. Sometimes research brings up things you thought you had forgotten. Would you like to talk about it? Thank you, but no. I think I need some time alone to process what I saw today. That night, Hana sent her response to frequency 94.7, 3 words. Seeds are ready. Then she began packing. Taemin's small apartment on Kiros. Prime was exactly what you would expect from a Coalition Navy officer. Clean, organized, with regulations manuals on the shelves and star charts on the walls. But hidden behind a false panel in his closet was something else entirely. The communication device looked like a simple data pad, but it was built with technology that was 50 years ahead of anything the Coalition used. Taemin activated it with his thumbprint and waited. The message came through in less than 10 minutes. It was the same one that Hana had received on Naraxis, sent to dozens of other hidden humans throughout the galaxy. The time has come. Assemble the scattered seeds. Taemin had been waiting for this message for 15 years. Ever since he graduated from the Coalition Naval Academy and began his careful climb through the ranks. He was now a commander, trusted with classified information and access to military communications. The Coalition thought he was one of them. They thought his family had come from a human colony that joined the Coalition peacefully after the human wars ended. They had no idea that he was part of something much larger. Taemin opened a secure channel and began typing his response. But first he needed to send one more piece of information. Something he had learned tonight in the cantina. Ghost ship sightings increasing. Cover may be compromised. Estimate 72 hours before full exposure. The response came back quickly. Understood. Begin final preparations. Operation Homecoming is active. Taemin smiled grimly as he read those words. Operation Homecoming. After 50 years of hiding, of pretending to be extinct, humanity was coming back. He began deleting files from his apartment computer and packing the few things he would need. By tomorrow night, Commander Taemin Park of the Coalition Navy would be gone. In his place would be something the galaxy thought was just a legend, a human soldier returning to war. In the depths of space, far from any inhabited system, something stirred in the darkness. Massive shapes that had been silent for decades began to power up their engines. Navigation computers that had been in standby mode started calculating jump coordinates. Admiral Bo-Ra, Choi stood on the bridge of the battlecruiser Soul's Vengeance and watched her crew prepare for the mission they had all been born for. These were the children and grandchildren of the survivors, trained from birth for this moment. Status report, she said calmly. All ships reporting ready, Admiral, her tactical officer replied. Weapons charged, shields online, jump drives standing by. And our people? Confirmation signals received from 847 assets across Coalition space. The seeds are ready to sprout. Admiral Choi nodded. For 50 years, humanity had played dead while their enemies grew complacent. They had hidden in the dark spaces between stars, building ships and training soldiers that the galaxy had never seen before. The aliens thought humans were legends. Tomorrow they would learn that some legends were real. All ships, Admiral Choi announced. Operation Homecoming begins at 800 hours. It is time to remind the galaxy why they used to fear the dark. 3 days after the coded messages went out, the Kepler system looked empty to any passing ships. The asteroid field appeared normal, just chunks of rock drifting in the cold darkness between stars. But appearances could be deceiving. Admiral Bo-Ra Choi stood on the bridge of Soul's Vengeance, watching holographic displays that showed the real situation. Hidden among the asteroids were 37 human warships, their hulls wrapped in stealth fields that bent light around them like water. Admiral, Lieutenant Jiho Nam called from his tactical station. Long-range sensors are picking up movement in Sector 7. Multiple fleets converging on those coordinates. Bo-Ra moved to stand behind Jiho's station. The young officer had been born on this ship, like most of the crew. His parents had been part of the original evacuation 50 years ago. Show me, she said. The holographic display changed, showing a 3-dimensional map of local space. Red dots marked alien fleet positions, all moving toward the same location. Bo-Ra counted 17 different species represented. That's the archive, she said quietly. Jiho nodded. Our intelligence was correct. They found it. The archive was humanity's greatest secret and greatest weakness. It was a massive database hidden in deep space, containing the location of every human colony, every hidden base, every sleeper agent placed throughout the galaxy over the past 50 years. If the aliens cracked the archive's security, the game would be over. Every human in the galaxy would be hunted down and killed. How long until they reach it? Bora asked. At current speed, 18 hours, Jiho replied. But Admiral, there's something else. We're detecting coalition Navy ships among the alien fleets. Bora's jaw tightened. That meant humans serving in the coalition military would be forced to fight against their own people. Humans like Commander Taemin Park, who had spent years building a false identity. Taemin was currently stealing a ship. The coalition courier vessel Hermes was a fast, lightly armed ship used for carrying important messages between planets. It was also perfect for someone who needed to travel quickly without attracting attention. Taemin walked through the ship's corridors wearing a maintenance worker's uniform. The real maintenance crew was unconscious in a storage room, drugged with a substance that would make them sleep for 6 hours and remember nothing when they woke up. Computer, he said as he reached the bridge. Recognize authorization code Delta 779. Authorization accepted, the ship's AI replied. Welcome aboard, Commander Park, Taemin smiled. He had planted that authorization code in the ship's computer 3 months ago, during a routine inspection. The coalition security was good, but it wasn't perfect. Set course for the Kepler system, he ordered. Maximum speed. Warning, the computer said. That course will take us through uncharted space. Recommend alternative route through established shipping lanes. Override safety protocols. Execute course immediately. As the Hermes jumped to hyperspace, Taemin activated a hidden communication device. This is Agent 779. En route to rendezvous. ETA 14 hours. The response came from Admiral Bora Choi herself. Understood, Agent. We'll be waiting. Dr. Hana Kim was having trouble concentrating on her work. She stood in the laboratory of the science vessel Busan's Light, analyzing alien communication intercepts while the ship traveled through hyperspace toward the archive. Dr. Kim, Captain Woo Jin Lee said as he entered the lab. Any progress on those transmissions? Hana looked up from her workstation. Captain Lee was a thin man in his 40s, with the quiet manner of someone who had spent his life keeping secrets. Like many humans in the Resistance, he had never known a life outside of hiding. Yes, but you're not going to like what I found, Hana said. She activated a holographic display showing decoded alien text. These aren't military communications. They're scientific reports. Scientific reports about what? About us. About humans. Hana highlighted several sections of text. They've been studying us for decades, Captain. Everything we did during the human wars, every piece of technology we developed, every tactical innovation we used. Captain Lee frowned. That's not surprising. We were at war with them. No, you don't understand, Hana said urgently. This research didn't stop when the wars ended. They've been continuing it all this time, trying to predict what we would do if we ever came back. She brought up another display, this one showing technical specifications. Look at this. Weapon design specifically created to counter human ship defenses. Shield frequencies tuned to block human energy weapons. They even developed countermeasures for technologies we haven't used yet. Captain Lee studied the information with growing alarm. How could they know about technologies we haven't used? Because they're not just studying our past, Hana said grimly. They're trying to predict our future. And Captain, according to their projections, they think we're going to try to conquer the galaxy when we return. Are we? Captain Lee asked quietly. Hana looked at him for a long moment. I hope not. The alien fleets were massive. Admiral Bora Choi watched the tactical displays as enemy ships dropped out of hyperspace near the archive's location. Fourth-Act dreadnoughts, Cetalian battlecruisers, Mantari swarm fighters, and ships from a dozen other species. Enemy fleet strength? She asked. 312 ships, Jiho reported, including 15 dreadnought-class vessels and 47 heavy cruisers. And how many ships do we have? 37, Admiral, Bora almost smiled. The aliens thought they had overwhelming numbers. They had no idea what human ships could do now. Signal all vessels, she ordered. Prepare for Operation Homecoming Phase 1. All ships to battle stations. Throughout the hidden fleet, humans who had trained their entire lives for this moment moved to their positions. Engineers activated weapon systems that used principles of physics the aliens had never seen. Pilots climbed into fighters that could move through space in ways that seemed impossible. And in the depths of each ship, Quantum computers that were part machine and part something else entirely began to wake up. Taemin's stolen courier ship dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the battle zone. Through the ship's sensors, he could see the archive station in the distance, surrounded by alien fleets that were already beginning their attack. "Computer, scan for human vessels in the area," he ordered. "Scanning," the AI replied. Then after a moment, "No human ships detected." Taemin smiled. "Scan again, but this time use quantum resonance frequencies." The computer paused. "I do not have quantum resonance scanning capabilities." "Yes, you do. Check your secondary processing cores." Another pause, longer this time. "Quantum resonance scanner activated. Scanning." "I am detecting 37 vessels using advanced stealth technology. Configuration unknown." "Thank you," Taemin said. The hidden upgrades he had installed in this ship over the past year were working perfectly. He opened a communication channel on a frequency that only human ships would monitor. "This is Agent 779 requesting permission to join the fleet." The response came immediately, in Admiral Bora Choi's calm voice. "Permission granted. Agent, welcome home." As Taemin's ship moved toward the hidden human fleet, the aliens began their assault on the archive station. Energy beams lanced through space, lighting up the darkness with deadly colors. The station's shields flared and sparked under the bombardment, but the aliens had made one critical mistake. They thought they were attacking a defenseless research facility. They had no idea that the archive was protected by the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Admiral Bora Choi watched the alien attack begin and felt a cold satisfaction. For 50 years, humanity had been planning for this moment. Every ship in her fleet was a masterpiece of engineering, built with technologies that the aliens couldn't even imagine. "All ships," she said into the fleet communication system. "This is Admiral Choi. For 50 years our people have lived in hiding. We have been called extinct, called legends, called myths. Today we show the galaxy that humans are very much alive." She paused, watching as the alien fleets focused all their firepower on the archive station. "All ships, decloak and engage the enemy. Operation Homecoming begins now." Across the asteroid field, 37 human warships dropped their stealth fields and appeared like ghosts materializing from the void. Their hulls gleamed with strange energies, and their weapons charged with power that made space itself seem to bend and twist. The aliens had expected to find a defenseless human outpost. Instead, they found themselves facing something that would haunt their nightmares for generations to come. The return of humanity had begun. The battle began with silence. For 3 seconds after the human ships decloaked, nobody moved. The alien commanders stared at their sensors, trying to process what they were seeing. Ships that appeared from nowhere, hull configurations they had never encountered, energy signatures that made no sense according to known physics. Then, the Soul's Vengeance fired its main cannon. The beam of energy that erupted from the human flagship was unlike anything the aliens had seen before. It didn't travel in a straight line like normal weapons. Instead, it curved through space like liquid light, bending around the alien ship's defensive positions and striking the Vorthak dreadnought directly in its command section. The dreadnought's shields didn't just fail. They shattered, sending cascades of energy feedback through the entire alien fleet's defensive network. "Impossible," whispered Commander Keltak, the Vorthak fleet leader. "Their weapon bypassed our shields completely." Admiral Bora Choi watched the chaos beginning in the alien formations and allowed herself a small smile. "Lieutenant Jiho, target the Cetalian command ship. Show them what our dimensional cannons can do." "Yes, Admiral," Jiho replied, his fingers dancing over the tactical controls. Firing dimensional cannon array. This time, the human weapons didn't just bend around the enemy defenses. They phased through them entirely, existing in a slightly different dimension until they reached their target. The Cetalian battlecruiser Depth Hunter exploded from the inside out as weapons fire materialized within its hull. "All ships," Admiral Choi broadcast to her fleet. "Engage at will. Show them what 50 years of innovation looks like." The human fleet moved like a school of fish, each ship perfectly coordinated with the others. They used formation tactics that seemed to defy the basic rules of space combat. With ships appearing to pass through each other's positions without collision, Taemin, piloting his stolen courier ship in the middle of the battle, could barely believe what he was seeing. "Computer, how are our ships doing that?" The ship's AI, which had been upgraded with human technology over the past year, responded in a voice that sounded almost excited. The human vessels appear to be using quantum entanglement networks for coordination and dimensional phase shifting for movement. I am detecting technologies that exceed my current understanding of physics. Mine too, Taemin admitted, dodging energy fire from a group of Mantari fighters. Can you interface with their network? Attempting connection now, the AI replied. Connection established. Warning. Incoming data stream contains quantum encrypted tactical information. Processing. Processing. Oh my, what is it? Taemin, the AI said, and for the first time since he had known it, the computer sounded almost human. They're not just using advanced technology. They're using technology that thinks. On board the medical frigate Busan's Light, Dr. Hana Kim worked frantically to treat wounded pilots being brought in from damaged fighters. But part of her attention was focused on the alien communication channel she was monitoring. Captain Lee, she called across the medical bay, you need to hear this. Captain Woojin Lee hurried over to her workstation, dodging medical personnel carrying wounded crew members. What is it, Doctor? Hana activated the communication monitor. Panicked alien voices filled the air, speaking in a dozen different languages but all saying the same thing. They're not just afraid, Hana said grimly. They're terrified. Listen to what they're calling us. A Vorthak commander's voice crackled through the speakers. All ships, we are not fighting normal enemies. These are the Endless Ones. The legends speak truth. They cannot be defeated because they evolve too quickly. A Cetalian officer added his own fear. Their ships move like living things. Our weapons pass through them like they are ghosts. And from a Mantari swarm leader, they anticipated every move we made. It's like they can see the future. Captain Lee frowned. Endless Ones? What does that mean? I've been researching their historical records, Hana explained while she worked on a wounded pilot's broken arm. During the human wars, some alien cultures developed a belief that humans were different from other species. They thought we were cursed to always survive no matter what happened to us. Cursed? They believed that even if they killed every human in the galaxy, we would somehow find a way to come back. They called us the Endless Ones because they thought we were literally impossible to destroy permanently. Captain Lee watched the battle through the ship's viewports. Human vessels were dancing between alien formations, their weapons tearing through enemy ships with surgical precision. Maybe they were right, he said quietly. The tide of battle had turned completely. What started as an alien assault on a human outpost had become a rout. Alien ships were fleeing in all directions, abandoning their formations and running for the safety of hyperspace. But Admiral Bo-Ra Choi was not finished with them yet. Jiho, she said calmly, target the flagship of each alien fleet. I want to send a message. Admiral, Jiho said hesitantly. If we destroy all their command ships, it will be a massacre. These fleets won't be able to coordinate their retreat. I don't want to destroy them, Lieutenant. I want to talk to them. Jiho looked confused but followed orders. All flagship vessels targeted, Admiral. Open a communication channel. All frequencies maximum broadcast power. The communication system activated with a soft chime. Throughout the battle zone, every alien ship would be able to hear what Admiral Choi was about to say. This is Admiral Bo-Ra Choi of the Human Resistance Navy, she began, her voice carrying across space to reach hundreds of alien commanders. You came here believing that humanity was extinct. You were wrong. On the Vorthak flagship, Commander Keltak listened with growing dread. The human voice was calm, controlled, utterly confident. For 50 years you have lived in a galaxy where humans were just stories, legends told in dark corners of space stations. Myths used to frighten children. Admiral Choi's voice continued. But we have been here all along, watching you, learning from you, preparing for this moment. The Admiral paused, and in that silence, alien commanders across the battle zone realized that every human weapon in the area was now pointed directly at their command ships. This is your only warning, Admiral Choi said. Humanity has returned to the galaxy. We are no longer hiding. We are no longer pretending to be extinct. You have a choice to make. Another pause. On the human ships, weapon systems charged to full power, ready to fire on the Admiral's command. You can withdraw your fleets now and return to your home worlds. You can acknowledge that humans have the right to exist in this galaxy alongside other species. You can choose to share the stars with us as equals. The silence stretched for 10 seconds. 20? 30? Or, Admiral Choi said, and now her voice carried the cold promise of death. You can force us to take our place in this galaxy by conquest instead of cooperation. The choice is yours. You have 60 seconds to decide. Taemin, listening to the Admiral's ultimatum from his courier ship, felt a chill run down his spine. He had spent 15 years pretending to be a loyal coalition officer, but he had never forgotten what humans were capable of when they stopped holding back. The alien fleets were learning that lesson now. Commander Keltak was the first to respond. Human Admiral, his voice crackled across the communication channels. The Vorthak hegemony acknowledges your return. We are withdrawing our forces. One by one, other alien commanders echoed his words. Within minutes, the massive alien armada that had come to destroy the archive was scattering in all directions, fleeing back to their home systems. But Admiral Choi knew that this was just the beginning. Word of the battle would spread throughout the galaxy within days. Soon every species would know that humans were not extinct. Some would welcome them back. Others would start building weapons to fight them. And in the dark spaces between stars, more human fleets were already beginning to move. Dr. Hana Kim stood at the viewport of the medical frigate, watching alien ships jump to hyperspace one by one. Captain Lee, she said thoughtfully, what do you think happens now? Captain Woo Jin Lee joined her at the viewport. Now we find out if humanity has learned anything from 50 years of hiding. We find out if we can be better than we were before. And if we can't? Captain Lee was quiet for a long moment. Then the aliens were right to fear us, he said finally, and the galaxy will burn. The alien response came faster than anyone expected. 3 hours after the battle at the archive, warning signals began appearing on human communication networks throughout the galaxy. The fleeing alien fleets had not returned to their homeworlds to lick their wounds. Instead, they had regrouped at rally points that had been prepared years in advance. Admiral Bora Choi stood in the tactical center of Seoul's vengeance, studying reports from human intelligence agents across coalition space. The holographic displays showed a galaxy mobilizing for war. They were ready for this, she said grimly. This wasn't a chance encounter. They've been planning for our return. Lieutenant Ji Honam highlighted several fleet movements on the display. Admiral, we're tracking massive military buildups in 7 different sectors. It looks like every major alien species is committing their entire navy to this operation. How many ships are we facing? Conservative estimate? 3,000 vessels, including battle stations and orbital defense platforms. Admiral Choi was quiet for a moment. Even with their technological advantages, 37 human ships could not fight 3,000 alien vessels and win. Ma'am, Ji-ho continued nervously, there's something else. We're detecting weapon signatures that don't match anything in our databases. It looks like they've been developing new technologies specifically designed to counter ours. That was when the first human ship died. The attack came without warning. The human destroyer Mokpo's Fury was conducting a reconnaissance mission near the border of Cetalian space, when space itself seemed to tear open around it. Quantum disruptors, weapons that the aliens had spent 50 years developing in secret, reached out and turned the ship's own dimensional shields against it. Captain Woo Jin Lee watched the destruction from the bridge of Busan's light and felt his blood turn cold. How did they know exactly how to counter our defensive systems? Dr. Hana Kim was asking herself the same question. She had been analyzing alien military communications for weeks, and what she had found was deeply disturbing. Captain, she said urgently, I need to show you something. She activated her research display, showing technical specifications that the aliens had been broadcasting to their fleets. Look at this. These are detailed plans for weapons designed to destroy human ships. But Captain, some of these plans include information about technologies that are still classified at the highest levels of our military. Captain Lee studied the information with growing alarm. You're saying they have access to our military secrets? I'm saying they have access to information that only a few dozen humans in the entire galaxy should know about. Hana's voice was tense with fear. Captain, I think we have a traitor in our leadership. The proof came an hour later, when 3 more human ships were destroyed in carefully planned ambushes. Each attack used specific knowledge of human patrol routes, ship vulnerabilities, and tactical doctrines that were only known to senior resistance commanders. Admiral Bora Choi called an emergency meeting of her command staff. The holographic conference room of Soul's Vengeance filled with the images of ship captains and intelligence officers from across the human fleet. Ladies and gentlemen, the Admiral began, we are facing a crisis that goes beyond the alien military buildup. Someone in our organization has been feeding information to the enemy. The room erupted in shocked voices, but Admiral Choi held up her hand for silence. I don't want to believe it either, but the evidence is clear. The aliens knew exactly where to hit us and exactly how to do it. They have weapons specifically designed to counter technologies that should be secret. Captain Lee's image spoke from the conference display. Admiral, who has access to the kind of information they're using? That's what makes this so dangerous, Admiral Choi replied. Only 12 people in the Resistance have clearance for all the information that has been compromised. That means our traitor is someone at the highest level of command. She paused, looking at each face in the holographic display. It means our traitor is someone in this room. Taemin was alone in his courier ship when he received the intelligence update. He had been traveling to a rendezvous point with a hidden human supply base when the message came through on his secure communication system. Agent 779, the message read, this is a priority alert. Intelligence indicates enemy has detailed knowledge of Operation Homecoming tactical plans. Assume all previous mission parameters are compromised. Abort current mission and return to fleet immediately. Taemin stared at the message for a long moment. If the aliens knew about Operation Homecoming's tactical plans, it meant they knew about everything. Supply base locations, agent identities, ship movements, weapon capabilities. 50 years of careful preparation had been undone by a single traitor. Computer, he said. Set course for the fleet rendezvous point. Maximum speed. Course plotted, the ship's AI replied. Estimated arrival time is 14 hours. Taemin, may I ask you a question? What is it? I have been analyzing the intelligence data that was compromised. The level of detail suggests that the traitor has access to quantum encrypted files that should be impossible to breach. How could someone steal information that is protected by our most advanced security systems? Taemin had been wondering the same thing. Maybe they didn't steal it. Maybe it was given to them willingly. The AI was quiet for a moment. You are suggesting that the traitor is not working for personal gain, but because they believe in their actions. That's exactly what I'm suggesting. The identity of the traitor was revealed during what should have been the human fleet's greatest triumph. Admiral Bora Choi had decided to make a bold strike against the alien staging area in the Proxima sector. Intelligence indicated that 7 alien fleets were gathering there, preparing for a massive assault on human colonies. The plan was simple. 30 human ships would use their advanced stealth technology to approach the alien staging area undetected, then strike with overwhelming force before the enemy could respond. It should have worked perfectly. The human ships had stealth fields that were generations ahead of alien sensor technology. Their quantum drives left no detectable energy signature. Their approach vector had been calculated to avoid all known alien patrol routes. Instead, they flew directly into a trap. The aliens were waiting for them. 3,000 ships arranged in a perfect formation designed to counter human tactical doctrines. Quantum disruptor mines scattered throughout the approach route, energy-dampening fields that neutralized human stealth technology. All ships emergency evasive maneuvers, Admiral Choi ordered as alien weapons fire erupted around the human fleet. They knew we were coming. Lieutenant Ji-ho worked frantically at his tactical station. Admiral, we're taking heavy casualties. The Daegu's Revenge has lost main power. Ulsan's Pride is reporting critical damage to their quantum core. How did they know? Admiral Choi demanded. This operation was classified at the highest level. That was when the communication channel opened, and Admiral Sang-wook Yoon's voice filled the bridge. Bora, he said sadly. I'm sorry it had to end this way. Admiral Choi stared at the communication display in shock. Admiral Yoon was one of the founding members of the human resistance. He had been her mentor during her early years in the military. She had trusted him with her life countless times. Sang-wook, she said, her voice barely a whisper. You're the traitor? I'm trying to save humanity, Yoon replied. Bora, you have to understand. We're too dangerous to be allowed back into galactic civilization. Look at what we've become in just 50 years of hiding. Our technology is advancing faster than our wisdom. Admiral Choi felt sick. You've been feeding our plans to the aliens. I've been preventing a war that would destroy the galaxy, Yoon said firmly. If we return to power, We'll become the very thing we once fought against. We'll become conquerors. Around them, the battle raged as human ships tried desperately to escape the alien trap. More ships were falling every minute, their crews dying because of one man's betrayal. Sang-wook, Admiral Choi said, and now her voice carried cold fury. You don't get to make that choice for our species. Someone has to, Yoon replied. Someone has to have the courage to stop us before we become monsters. Admiral Choi cut the communication channel and turned to her bridge crew. They were trapped, outnumbered 100 to 1, with their position compromised and their tactics known to the enemy. Any normal military force would have surrendered, but humans had never been normal. Ji-ho, Admiral Choi said calmly, initiate quantum core linkage protocol. Ji-ho's face went pale. Admiral, that procedure has never been tested outside of computer simulations. The theoretical models show a 73% chance of catastrophic cascade failure. What do the models say about our chances of survival if we don't try it? Ji-ho checked his tactical display. 0%, Admiral. Then we have nothing to lose. Admiral Choi activated the fleet communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Choi. We are initiating emergency protocol Omega-7. Link your quantum cores to the network and prepare for consciousness integration. Dr. Hana Kim, working in the medical bay of Busan's Light as wounded crew members were brought in, heard the Admiral's order and stopped what she was doing. Captain Lee, she called across the medical bay. Did she just order what I think she ordered? Captain Woojin Lee nodded grimly. She's going the quantum core linkage created something that had never existed in the galaxy's history. 37 human ships became a single living organism, with thousands of human minds joined together in perfect unity. Admiral Bo-ra Choi was no longer just the commander of a fleet. She was the central consciousness of a being that could think with the speed of quantum computers and move with the coordination of a single body. Through the neural link, she could feel every crew member's thoughts, every ship's sensors, every weapon's targeting system. But more than that, she could see the future. The combined processing power of the linked fleet was analyzing the battle in real time, calculating probability matrices that predicted enemy movements before they happened. When the alien commander on the Vorthak flagship decided to concentrate fire on the Soul's vengeance, Admiral Choi knew about it 3 seconds before he gave the order. All ships, she said, and her voice carried across both radio channels and the quantum link that connected every human mind in the fleet. Execute pattern Delta 7. The human ships moved like dancers in a perfectly choreographed performance. They slipped between alien formations with impossible precision, their movements so coordinated that they seemed to pass through each other without collision. Weapons fire that should have destroyed them instead struck empty space where the ships had been moments before. Lieutenant Ji-ho Nam, his consciousness merged with the fleet's tactical systems, felt like he was seeing space combat for the first time. Admiral, this is incredible. We're not just predicting their moves. We're understanding their intentions before they form them. But the power came at a terrible cost. Dr. Hana Kim could feel the neural pathways in her brain, burning as they carried more information than they were designed to handle. Around her in the medical bay, other crew members were beginning to show signs of neural overload. Blood from burst capillaries ran from their noses and ears. Captain Lee, she called through the quantum link, her thoughts reaching him instantly across the ship. The human brain wasn't designed for this level of integration. We can maintain this for maybe 10 more minutes before permanent neural damage. Captain Woojin Lee felt her warning ripple through the collective consciousness of the fleet. Every human in the battle was now aware that their miraculous advantage was killing them. Admiral, he thought toward the command consciousness, we need to end this quickly. Admiral Choi felt the urgency of her crew's situation, but she also felt something else through the quantum link, power beyond anything humanity had ever possessed. The ability to reach across space and touch the minds of every living being in the galaxy. For a moment, she was tempted to use that power to simply order the alien fleets to surrender. She could feel their minds through their ship's communication systems, touch their thoughts, rewrite their intentions. She could make them worship humanity as gods. The temptation lasted exactly 2.7 seconds before Admiral Choi rejected it completely. All ships, she said, prepare for full-spectrum broadcast. We're not going to destroy these fleets. We're going to talk to them. Tae-min, his consciousness linked with the fleet's navigation systems, felt confused. Admiral, talk to them about what? About choice, Admiral Choi replied. About what kind of future humanity wants to build. The broadcast began on every communication frequency used by every species in the galaxy. Through quantum entanglement networks, the message reached across thousands of light years instantly, touching every inhabited world, every space station, every ship traveling between the stars. Admiral Choi's voice, amplified by the combined consciousness of thousands of humans, spoke to the galaxy. People of the galaxy, she began. My name is Admiral Bora Choi. I speak for humanity, a species you believe to be extinct. We are not extinct. We have been hiding among you for 50 years, learning from you, growing alongside you. On the Cetalian homeworld, Aquan was working in his laboratory when every communication device in the facility activated simultaneously. He recognized the human voice immediately. It was his research partner, Dr. Hana Kim. We know that many of you fear our return. The broadcast continued. Your histories tell you that humans are conquerors, that we seek to dominate other species. Some of those histories are true. 50 years ago, humanity was aggressive, expansionist, quick to solve problems with violence. In the battle zone, alien commanders listened with growing amazement as the human voice seemed to speak directly to their thoughts, carrying emotions and memories along with words. But 50 years of exile taught us something important. Power without wisdom leads to destruction. Strength without compassion leads to tyranny. We learned this lesson by losing everything we thought we valued. Admiral Sang-wook Yoon, listening from his hidden command center, felt tears running down his face as the broadcast reached him. This was not the message he had expected humanity to send. Today, we return to the galaxy not as conquerors, but as partners, Admiral Choi continued. We offer you our technology, our knowledge, our strength in the service of all species. We have learned to build ships that can bend space itself, weapons that can protect entire star systems, computers that can solve problems beyond current imagination. The broadcast paused, and in that silence, every listener could feel the weight of the choice being offered. But we will not force these gifts upon you. We will not claim dominion over worlds that belong to others. We ask only for the right to exist alongside you, to contribute to a galaxy where all species can thrive. Dr. Hana Kim, her consciousness still linked with Admiral Choi's, felt the neural damage spreading through her brain like fire, but she also felt something else. Hope. For the first time in 50 years, she felt hope for humanity's future. This is our promise to you, the Admiral's voice concluded. Humanity chooses cooperation over conquest. We choose to build rather than destroy. We choose to be the species we should have been 50 years ago. The broadcast ended, and the quantum link began to dissolve. One by one, human minds separated from the collective consciousness, returning to their individual selves. The fleet's perfect coordination fractured as ship captains regained independent control of their vessels. But the damage was done, to themselves and to their enemies. Admiral Bora Choi collapsed in her command chair, blood streaming from her nose and ears. Around her, bridge crew members slumped over their stations unconscious from neural overload. Similar scenes were playing out across the entire human fleet. But in the alien formation surrounding them, something unprecedented was happening. Commander Keltak, the Vorthak fleet leader, stared at his tactical displays in amazement. The human ships, which moments before had been moving with godlike coordination, were now drifting helplessly. Many showed signs of internal damage. Several had gone completely dark. Sir, his tactical officer reported, the humans appear to have suffered some kind of system failure. Their entire fleet is defenseless. Keltak looked at the vulnerable human ships and thought about Admiral Choi's message. Humanity could have used their power to destroy the alien fleets. Instead, they had chosen to offer partnership. All ships, Keltak ordered, stand down weapons. Do not fire on the human vessels. Across the alien formations, other commanders were making similar decisions. The beings who had come to destroy humanity were instead moving to offer assistance to the damaged human ships. 6 months later, Taemin stood on the observation deck of the first joint human-alien research station, built in the ruins of the archive. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he could see ships from dozens of species working together on projects that no single civilization could have completed alone. Dr. Hana Kim joined him at the window, walking carefully with the aid of a neural stabilizer that helped compensate for the brain damage she had suffered during the quantum link. "Any regrets?" she asked. Taemin thought about the question. The neural damage was permanent for most of the humans who had participated in the consciousness link. Many would never fully recover. The price of becoming gods, even briefly, had been higher than anyone expected. "No," he said finally. "We made the right choice. Even though we could have conquered the galaxy, especially because we could have conquered the galaxy." Taemin pointed to a construction project visible through the window, where human engineers worked alongside Satalian technicians to build a new type of faster-than-light drive. "Look at what we're building instead." Dr. Hana Kim smiled despite the pain medication she needed to function. Captain Lee was right. We learned to be better than we were. Through the station's communication systems, they could hear reports from across the galaxy. Human colonies emerging from hiding to join the galactic community. Alien species requesting human assistance with problems that had seemed unsolvable. Joint research projects that were advancing technology at an unprecedented rate. Not all the news was good. Some species still feared and distrusted humanity. Admiral Sang Wook-yoon had disappeared completely, taking a small group of followers who believed humanity should return to isolation. Pirates and criminals throughout the galaxy were using human technology for destructive purposes. But for the first time in 50 years, humanity was part of something larger than itself. You know what the best part is? Dr. Hana Kimo tried to link every